Hey, welcome back. I'm Todd Smith with another video teaching you how to make money and achieve financial freedom with real estate investing. Over the years, I've been blessed to teach tens of thousands of investors from newbies to millionaires, so I know I can help you too. But before we get into today's topic, if you haven't done so already, I just want to remind you to check out my free 90-minute online training class about how to buy houses without cash or credit at realestateCashflowSecrets.com. I'll put that link and maybe some other resources in the description for this video. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button below this video. And for some reason, YouTube made it harder. So after you hit subscribe, you got to hit the bell and then you got to hit all to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the money-making information that I have to share with you, because I do upload videos regularly. Fair enough? All right, let's get started. So in this video, I want to answer a question that was given to me during one of my meetings, and that is, how can a college kid get started in real estate investing? Well, that's an easy question for me to answer because I actually got started as a college kid. I got started as a broke college kid, and I was a sophomore in college actually at the time, and I was living in an apartment. And so I actually bought my first investment property before I even bought my first house to live in. So basically the deal was brought to me by a realtor that was kind of shady. They didn't do anything illegal, but they probably didn't, they probably weren't it was just kind of shady. But that's a story for another time. But basically the good thing about this deal, the thing that attracted me to the deal, is that I didn't have to go get financing. So the seller, this property was listed in the MLS, and the seller was willing to offer seller financing on a land contract. And that's one of the things that I was studying at the time, was land contracts. So that was very appealing to me. So basically I was able to buy the property by making payments, setting up a payment plan that I would pay directly to the seller. And I didn't have to go to the bank to get my own financing. But I still had to come up with the down payment. And so where did I get the down payment from? It didn't come from my own money. It actually came from credit cards. So, a lot of times they send these credit card offers to college students, and I took advantage of all of those. Credit card offers, and collected a few credit cards that I have from different banks, and that's where I got my down payment. So basically, I didn't have to come up with any money. I didn't have to go to the bank to qualify for a loan. And I use a credit card for the down payment. So I just want to point out that one of the differences that I didn't use credit cards for consumer purchases. I only used them for investment purposes. So that's how a lot of people get caught up in the trap of getting credit cards and maxing them out and creating all this consumer debt. But I only used credit cards for investment purposes. If it wasn't for investment purposes, I made sure I paid it off at the end of the month. Now, another thing I want you to take away from this video is that using credit cards for down payments is another way to get started. Actually, I've used credit cards to actually buy houses before, not just down payments, but I've used credit cards as a substitute for cash. All right, but again, that was back in the day. I don't really do that anymore, but that was one of the ways I got started, because I was able to build up a very large supply of credit. Because when I got started, I had no credit, right? So I got started and I built my credit up by collecting all these credit cards. But anyway, you don't even need to do that, right? Because if you've heard me speak before, you've been following me for a while, then you know that I teach you how to buy properties without cash or credit. But nonetheless, that is a way to use credit. Again, I've never gone to a bank to get a loan to buy an investment property, but I have used credit lines and credit cards, mainly through credit cards. I don't think I've ever had just like gone and gotten like a special credit line by itself that wasn't attached to a credit card. But anyway, that's another way. There's so many ways to do this business without having to go and get regular bank loans. All right, so that's another thing I want you to take away from this video. So speaking of credit cards, I know some of you are thinking, hey, well, the interest rates on that are crazy, right? But again, if you're going to be making the money back very quickly, then the interest rate really doesn't matter. So again, in this case, I was just using it for a down payment, right? All right, so let's just look at a real simple example here, right? So if I'm going to control this property with a down payment of, let's say, $3,000, and then if I can get back from a tenant buyer, if I can get that back in 30 to 60 days in the amount of $5,000, right? Then what difference does it make what the interest rate was? Let's say I paid $200 in interest for 60 days, all right? If I'm getting $5,000 back and I paid $3,000, right? So I'm at $3,200. So that gives me a difference of $5,000 minus $3,200. I'm still $1,800 ahead, right? So, if you can invest $3,200 and get back $5,000 in 30 to 60 days, that's a great investment, right? And very little risk as long as you know the market and what you can get on what the market will bear. So this particular deal wasn't really the best deal suited for a brand new college student. So but bottom line, the deal needed a lot more work than what I understood, but that wasn't the main problem. So one of the challenges I had with this deal that I could not have known was that the deal was it was in a bad location, and it wasn't just a bad location, but it was a terrible location. And actually, the deal was right across the street from a hospital, and actually it was Hlahrli Hospital in Flint, Michigan. And at that time, I don't know what the area is like now, but at that time the area was rough. So I'm thinking, okay, this is my first investment property. I'm going to be able to rent it out to some hospital staff, a nurse or something like that, right? So I put the address in the paper, and actually the address was 1226 Grand Traverse Avenue. I remember it like it was yesterday. 1226 Grand Traverse Avenue. I put the address in the paper, I put the amount of the rent, and I put that it was right across the street from Hlahrli Hospital. And despite the fact that I put all that in the paper, despite the fact that I put all that in the advertisement, people would still call me and they would say, "Where is the property?" And I'm thinking, how can they say that? That's the very first thing in the advertisement, where the property is. And as soon as I would tell them, they wouldn't even say goodbye or anything. They just hang up. And this kept happening and happening. So I'm thinking, man, how rough is this area? So then I never actually got that property rented out. I did get it sold, but I never actually got it rented out. In fact, the only tenant that I had there in that property was a dead dog that me and my best friend from college removed from the back porch of the property. So bottom line, that's how I got started in real estate. That was my first deal. I didn't make any money on the property, but fortunately it didn't cost me any money out of pocket either. And that's one of the reasons that I want to teach you guys to invest without using money, right? Because if you don't invest any money, it's hard to lose money, right? So, so anyway, I was able to get the property sold and cut my losses. And I often think, man, that really could have discouraged me. But thank God I did not allow myself to get discouraged, because I started out real estate investing with a multi-million-dollar mentality. And thank God it's paid off for me just that way. So, but yeah, I could have let that first deal discourage me, but I didn't. So there's a couple of things I want you to take away from this video today. And that is, number one, you're never too young or too old to get started, right? I got started as a broke college student. It didn't matter my financial situation, that I didn't have any money. And also, another thing I want you to take away from it is, I had a bad experience, but I was able to bounce back. And one of the reasons I was able to bounce back, because failure never was an option for me. Failure was never an option for me. I always got started with the plan that I was going to build $1 million business. And that's the way that you approach this. This is not a hobby. This is something, if you treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid as a hobby. You want to treat it like $1 million business, and you can get paid as $1 million business. So again, the two things I want to leave with you is, you're never too young or too old to get started. And it doesn't matter how bad you start, it only matters how good you finish. So write that down and give me credit for the quote. It doesn't matter how bad you start, it only matters how good you finish. So remember, just stay focused on the outcome that you want and continue to work toward that outcome, and you'll be able to have all the success that you desire.
Hey, thanks again for watching, and don't forget to check out any additional resources that I might have for you in the description section of this video. If you like this video, then show me some love with a heart on Facebook or a thumbs up on YouTube, and leave a comment below to let me know how the video helped you. If you have any real estate investing questions, go ahead and write those in the comments below, and it just may become the topic of my next video. If you know anybody else that might benefit from this video, then go ahead and share it. Be sure to check out my upcoming videos, and until next time, may all your parents have rich children, and may all your children have rich parents.